That's where I learned that people were making hundreds of thousands. Some people make million plus in this industry, right? And it's totally achievable, right? It's totally achievable. If I could do it with no degree that even resembles, what I'm doing right now. I was able to do it, right? You can do the same and you can get there. Yeah, man. I mean, really the key right here is, how can I afford this? To cut it long story short, I am in tech. I started off not really interested in programming or anything. And through college, I sort of figured out what were the high paying jobs, what were not the high paying jobs. And what I was learning at the time was definitely like a lower paying job, right? Like I knew that I could either keep doing what I was doing or pivot into something that I also enjoyed but would pay a lot more, right? So I think that was like an early lesson for me to like not only look for things that you enjoy, but also look for things that actually pay well and be realistic with it. So, out of college, I started off with, a entry-level tech job, right? Entry-level like programming job. And it was actually pretty fun. I'm not gonna lie, I learned a lot. It was all in the office and stuff. I learned a ton. But with that job, since it wasn't in, one of the larger tech companies, it wasn't like fintech or anything like that. It wasn't anything fancy. It didn't pay that well, right? So it was great for my first job. I was so happy, right? I mean, I was making like 50 some K a year right out of college. I mean, that's awesome, right? Especially doing something that I didn't even get a degree for. And typically it's really hard to get a job like that, right? But I was able to get that because I built up a portfolio throughout college, right? Proving my skills. And I also just interviewed a ton. I mean, you got to interview like crazy out of college, and you got to get your foot in the door, right? But once you do that and you get a lot of skills, you learn a lot, and you work at a company for, years, then really the door is wide open for you, and you can, there's so many tools out there. I highly recommend Levels FYI, Levels.fyi and Team Blind to kind of get a good understanding of the landscape. That's where I learned that people were making hundreds of thousands. Some people make million plus in this industry, right? Like at a job, like at these larger tech companies. So that's where I learned a lot of that stuff, and where I really, at that point, just became super driven. Once I knew what was possible, I became super driven, and I wanted to achieve, what so many other people have, right? Not so many people, but you know what I mean? Like the top performers and the top paid people in the industry. I mean, I think it's more so that like I believed in myself that I could do it. Like delusional levels of optimism to where, I looked at all these people doing hundreds of thousands of dollars with only a couple years experience and thought like, if they can do it, I can do it, right? So, I ended up interviewing a ton. I mean, I don't even know, hundreds of interviews, right? I finally landed a job in tech, more so like the gaming side. And that was a huge jump in salary. It was like a 2x jump because I saw the stagnation in terms of, the important thing is in terms of like growth, right? If you don't see a growth opportunity, then there's really no point, in doing this stuff. So I ended up, I think 2 to 3x my salary. A lot of that has to do with RSUs. There's a whole other like separate topic of that, when it comes to RSUs. These tech companies, they give you stocks in the form of RSUs. And this is everywhere. You could read all about it. This is not like a secret or anything. But it was something that blew my mind. Like I didn't know about it at all. Like even at the first gaming company I worked at, like they didn't really do that. Certainly not at my first job, like definitely not. So it's more of like a tech company thing. And that's really where you can make, a good amount of money, right? Especially if you come in and you're lucky, right? It's all like timing and luck. So that's sort of what I would target, right? If you're really interested in making a good amount of money, making a lot of impact also. I mean, these companies, the reason you make so much money is because you're working on stuff that millions of people touch, right? So, you know, there's a stigma of like working at these big companies, but like my experience has been nothing but great. You know, there's other opportunities too, right? There's fintech, there's like all these other sectors right now that pay really well. Like I said, I would go on Levels, FYI, and Team Blind and Glassdoor to look at, you know, testimonials, look at the data. You can actually read like what all these companies pay. It's amazing. It's so transparent these days. Like you know exactly what you're getting into with all these sites, right? Sorry, I had to do it. Anyways, what was I saying? Yeah, man, I mean, really the key right here is find what you're passionate about and find something that where your passion intersects with something that pays really well. And don't stop grinding until you reach, you know, the goals that you have, right? And when you reach your goal, set a new goal, right? Once you find a place you love working for, then go all in, right? I mean, that's what I did, and it's been great, right? I love it. The solution isn't always the job hop. I would say, like, in the start of your career, probably it's very unlikely that your first couple jobs in the industry are gonna be the ones where you get paid the best and it's like the best perks and everything. Like, most likely you're gonna have to at least switch jobs a couple times, right, before you actually hit like that sweet spot of it's your passion, you get paid really well, they respect your time, and you know, they respect you and they trust you, and you really love the work, right? And you're making good impact. So yeah, I would say learn as much as you can from each job, interview all the time, update your resume all the time, do research on Levels, FYI, and all these websites to figure out what the salaries are, learn a lot. You know, don't feel bad if what you're learning is not what you want to do. Still use that opportunity to learn what you do want to do. Internships, I wish I took advantage of those more. I never really got into internships at all. But those could be a really good way to get your foot in the door. And yeah, grind. Respect yourself, respect your time. Don't feel tied. Do not feel like loyalty tied to a company, right? Like, if they don't treat you well, they don't treat you well. Once you find the one that, you know, you like working for, then you'll know, right? Like, that's where I'm at, right? And it's totally achievable, right? It's totally achievable. If I could do it with no degree that even resembles, you know, what I'm doing right now, I was able to do it, right? Just being really, I mean, I spent like 6 months to 8 months studying, interviewing hundreds of times, updating my resume, researching salaries. You can do the same and you can get there. And it's even easier these days. Like, with all the tools available, you have internships now, which they were there before too. I kind of did it the hard way, you know. There's easier ways to do it, right? To get in and get your foot in the door. But yeah, man, just never do not give up, dude. Just don't give up, and you won't regret it. Yeah, I'm starting this channel just kind of to help people out, because I was in the same predicament. You know, I was underpaid, I was unhealthy, not happy with myself, right? And something just clicked at a certain point where I just started believing that I could change my situation. Once you believe that you actually could change your situation, then that's when things change for you. Because until then, you're just kind of like waiting. You're almost like waiting for somebody to come save you, right? To come get you out of the situation you're in. But no one's gonna come save you. It's up to you, right? Like, it's completely up to you. So, you know, and that should give you solace, actually, because that's something that is within all of us. We're all capable of, like, growing over time. And if you just keep going with it, you will reach your goals. You just will. if you don't give up, I mean, there's no other option other than you will hit your goals. So yeah, I just want to end the video with that. So yeah, thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments if this helped you, if you have any other questions or anything, any topics that you want me to cover in the future videos. I'm always reading the comments. I'm reading every comment, and I'm responding to as many as I can. So let me know, and I'll see you next time.